Hey guys, I hope you're all doing well today. So today we're going to be talking about communication skills, right? And how you can use yours to influence and persuade, all right? So when we're growing up, we don't have a lot of communication skills. So take for example when you're a baby, right? If you want something, if you want to influence someone to get something for you, all you really have at your disposal is crying for it, right? And hoping that they can guess that it's right. And as you get a little bit older, say you're turning like 9 and you want a bike for Christmas, right? All you really have at that point is just repetition, right? Persistence wearing down resistance. So you just keep on going, Mom, can I have a bike? Mom, can I have a bike? Mom, can I have a bike? And eventually she probably gives in, right? And you get that bike. But as we get older, things get a bit more complicated, right? So that sort of stuff, that repetition, that doesn't really fly in the grown-up world, I should say. And so you kind of need to develop like more in-depth communication skills so that you can influence and persuade at that higher level, right? So the people that you want to influence and persuade are looking at your character generally, right? Whether they're doing it subconsciously or consciously, usually it's subconscious, and they're kind of looking and they're saying, what kind of person is this, right? Is this the type of person I should trust and follow? Or is this the type of person that I should not listen to, who's going to lead me astray, right? So power of influence and persuasion is kind of won through a leader-follower dynamic, all right? And you essentially need to prove yourself as someone worth following in order to persuade or influence someone, all right? And an essential component of any leader-follower relationship is trust, right? You got to trust in the business. You got to trust your upline that they're going to give you the right advice and set you on the right path, all right? And it's the same in a persuasion like arena, right? So yeah, there's got to be trust there, right? And yeah, so you need someone's trust in order to persuade and influence someone, okay? And so to be trustworthy, you got to break that down a little bit. So you need to think about your character, because ultimately that is what determines someone's willingness to be influenced by you, right? The other aspect of building trust comes down to skills, right? So if you're a car salesman, a customer can have greater trust in you if you know like all the makes, models, general prices, all the add-on prices, and you come across authentic. You don't come across scammy. That's like that's a different type of skill, but it's still skills. This is kind of like knowledge skills, right? So yeah, if you know all your stuff, people are going to be more trusting of you, right? They're not going to be as quick to jump to like, oh, he's scamming me. You know what I mean? And so that can kind of build trust, okay? The other area you'll need to be skilled in is of communication, right? So that's like the other stuff, okay? That's like tonality, enunciation, speaking well, that type of thing, right? So yeah, you need to speak well and effectively to convey your perspective, right? That's basically what communication is. So you need to speak well, effectively. In order to convey your perspective and the information you wish to share, right? So I'm just going to rattle off a few of the benefits of having better communication skills. And if none of these relate to you, well, you might be in the wrong place, all right? So as a better communicator, all interpersonal relationships are going to benefit, simply because the people you're interacting with are going to be able to understand your perspective better, and as a result, they're going to be more empathetic to your perspective, and you're going to get a better result for yourself, right? So yeah, your work life, talking to your boss and coworkers, talking to significant others, your teachers if you're in school, your professors if you're in uni or something, all of those relationships are directly going to benefit, all right? And it's usually as a result of higher efficiency in communication, right? And if you're a better communicator, you're going to be valued more at the workplace, and you're likely going to be compensated accordingly, okay? But specifically within the business, when you can communicate clearly and effectively, it allows people to put that trust in you, right? It allows them to put that trust in your ability to lead them, and it makes it that much easier for you to be edified by your downline, your upline, whatever, you know? So how do we do it, right? How do we get that trust, and how do we communicate clearly and effectively? So first off, speak well, enunciate, don't slur, okay? Don't use much slang, and use an extensive vocabulary. But don't overcomplicate things either, right? You don't want to be using words that no one knows, and everyone's just going like, why is he saying that? Like, that does not even like, do you know what I mean? Like, you want to be relatable, but you want to be distinguished at the same time, okay? And so it's a fine balance to kind of tune that, but you guys will get the hang of it eventually. You want to speak with authority, loudly, and with confidence. But remember, don't yell, guys. No one likes a screamer, okay? And it's not just about what you say, right? There is more than one way to communicate. For example, like, what do you communicate about your physical appearance, right? I know we're told, like in school and everything, that we shouldn't judge a book by its cover, okay? But it's also, it's in our nature to make judgments on face value. It's how we identify threats, and it's how we like identify things as non-threats as well, right? So think about what you communicate through your appearance, right? Are you well groomed? Are you well groomed? Do you dress well? How do you walk, right? Do you maintain eye contact or shy away from it? All these things communicate a particular message, right? And so when we're aware of that, we can control what we communicate through our appearance, okay? Just by changing our appearance, if necessary, right? So yeah, another way of breaking down your character to find what you lack and what needs the most work is to use Aristotle's theory of persuasion, right? So Aristotle had a theory. He basically theorized that there are 3 areas relevant to persuasion and the ability to influence, okay? So you've got pathos, you've got ethos, and you've got logos. So pathos is basically how much passion you have, how enthusiastic and demonstrative you are, and that you appear when you're talking about a particular subject, right? Ethos is ethics, so that's like how well adjusted your morals and values are, and that comes back to the character thing, right? So that's how strong your character is. And then logos is more the logic behind what you're saying, right? And the ability to kind of objectively analyze things. And that kind of comes down to the skills of the car. I use the car salesman, where he knows all of the stuff, right? That's kind of the logos route. And so you kind of need all 3, right? To be as persuasive and influential as you possibly can, you need all 3, okay? Another thing you've got to think about is what you're implicitly communicating, right? So, for example, when you're listening, are you communicating that you're bored, okay? Are you showing that you're excited? Are you showing that you're engaged? Because when you're talking, are you coming across condescending? These are all non-verbal communications, right? And it's actually far more important than just the words you say, right? So one of the most basic but most important goals of non-verbal communication is whether you're speaking or listening, you want to show that you're engaged, all right? You want to show that this conversation has meaning to you and that they're important to you, all right? Because, pardon me. So whenever someone tells you you're not listening, there's a general undertone that means they're not going to listen back, right? So if you're not able to show that engagement and genuinely be engaged, you're not going to get the same courtesy back, which is going to mitigate their ability to be influenced by you, right? And be persuaded by you, okay? So ultimately the best way to improve in all these arenas of communication, persuading and influence, is just to practice them, right? By simply having conversations with strangers is the best way. And then you evaluate, right? You evaluate what you could have done better, what you said and what effect that had on them, and then applying those changes, right? The application is the most important. There is no point in having knowledge that you don't apply. It's just wasting a hole in your brain, all right? So you've got to apply those changes, and through that feedback system, you can become an exponentially better communicator. And I think you guys would actually be surprised in the amount of time you can get there. Yeah, it's actually a very short amount of time that you can become a far better communicator, as long as you're honest in your analysis and you're relentless in your application, all right? So that's everything for today, guys. Thank you for coming, and I will see you guys next time, all right?